one and all for coming to Mystic Carabao. And if you haven't been invited already, 祝你大家来到my Well, the society members always do love coming to Mystic Point. As we see, for the Explorers Club, I do love hosting a wonderful get-together every now and again. Most notably, we've had Penelope, we've had Captain Mary Oceaneer, Dr. J.L. Batterisa, Charlton J. Tabaret, a world-famous painter, and even Harrison Hightower III. Well, and then there's also Professor Blauerhimmel. They do say that blue skies follow him wherever he goes, so perhaps he can fly over us today. I do remember when I was an early society member, there was Vitaly Rubistelli. He was a wonderful president, with even Jason Chandler acting as secretary at the time. Although I have yet to see him in quite some time, I'm unsure whether he might be along somewhere in the world, or something might have happened with that Shariki Atundu idol during his New Year's Eve party some time ago. Legend will still have to be sought after then. Dr. Albert Falls, in fact, has shipped some of our wonderful cargo here from across the world. I do believe he might be coming up with a jungle navigation company. He's mentioned it, of course, and you might even talk to Charlotte about it as well. She might have been adventuring for her own pendant around her neck. I think one might have been called a piranha ha-ha, maybe a bit of comedy for Charlotte as well, or maybe even a bit of observation. You see, myself, I'm more of a locator of rare antiquities, and I think an elephant would suit me justly. I do believe some of our other compatriots might be able to help you out wonderfully. Even Dr. Kon Chunasuke. You see, during our wonderful spot here in Mystic Point, why don't we come over this way, Alfred? You see, when I came upon him, I saw a young monkey that was actually ensnared within a spider's web. I was looking for a wonderful butterfly or antilion for Dr. Kon Chunasuke, and so, to my surprise, the butterfly went just past a giant spider. Now, this arachnid seemed quite intent on harming our young monkey friend, so I thought of saving the animal. And now Albert and I are wonderful friends indeed. You might say that I even named him after my favorite Uncle Alfred as well. I think it suits him just. I enjoyed to have a few bits of my travel with the society, reminding me of my manic settled. As you can see, some of the architecture is very reminiscent of the Victorian Luxembourg. Even some of the Russian St. Baptist cells. You can might be able to see some Moroccan inspiration as well as even a Antucum there as well. Does anyone have a favorite architectural thing in mind? That's well, that's all right. Maybe I'll add a few columns from ancient Rome. I think that will be very iconic. Are we here to learn more about Mystic Point then? No, well, I do see that you've already started in a wonderful spot. This is a mosaic of the resin god Pineto. As you can see, you stay with this remote campfire or chariot of cluttered horses. Now, the idea along this Garden of Wonder is that it's three-dimensional. Oh yes, very intriguing indeed. Is anyone a fan of the Greco-Roman mythology? Well, that's all right. Not for everyone, I suppose. Different time and different place of the world. This is the Mesopotamian bas-relief of a Lamassu. Now, during the time period, they were a guardian spirit, as it were. As you can see, we found it in three separate parts, and I believe it might have been there to represent the growing within oneself. As you can see, I'm quite similar in size. Yes, exactly. Very well spotted. What if I Google it? It's not mine. Well, it seems to have well, I think it's a wonderful idea of the toy, but how it goes in threes as well. A very powerful number of threes and ancient mythos. As you can see here, we have the face of a man, wings of an eagle, detected even the body of a bull or lion if seen. Very interesting in fact. I have to do more research on the topic, however. Now, speaking of threes, I have a very interesting piece to show you right over this way. Why don't we come along? Does anyone have an idea of what the very back one might be? The dragon? Close. Oh, it's a chi lid. Oh yes, the Chinese now, as you can see, it's very proud and standing strong. Now, in front of it, it has a very fiery personality. Anyone have an idea?
Dragon.
Oh, sorry.
Dragon.
Wait, that might be jumping a little bit further ahead, Jamie. For this one, it's a phoenix, a marvelous animal, always centered around rebirth and its, as I said, fiery personality. Wait, in the front, we have a marvelous car, a wonderful remedy and rendition of my fantastic time on the River Ghent. Now, when you put it all together, as some of you have previously stated, you do see a dragon fall, or more of a Western view of a dragon, I'd say, with wings, claws, and very fierce attire. Isn't that something, everyone? We'll have to include more going forward, I'd say. Well, speaking on going forward, I believe we might have a few wonderful lords up at the freight depot. Yes, why don't we make it that way? Have a very interesting sculpture of the god Poseidon. Now, as we spoke earlier, does anyone remember the name of the god we saw in the mosaic? Well, that's all right. It's Neptune. Now, one might be interested to know that Neptune and Poseidon are one and the same. Oh yes, different time and different place and all that, from difference of Rome and Greece, but I think he looks quite smashing, doesn't he? Well, you might know, in fact, that Albert and I, my wonderful companion and confidant, has recently come back from a interesting sojourn to Bali. Has anyone ever been to Bali? No. Well, I do suggest you go, in fact. We just received a Balinese music box. Now, the legend has it that these charming music box has the power to bring inanimate objects to life with a touch of its enchanting music. Oh, I believe it to be superstition and nonsense, of course. But you never know. The legend just might be true. We'll have to see when we open it, shan't we? Oh, yes, indeed. Maybe all of us can help out if you are a fan of cataloging and preservation of history in and of itself. All right. Well, I think it would be splendid indeed. Well, speaking of young numbers, I'm going to speak to you. I hope you all have a marvelous day at Mystic Mountain, and I hope to see you all soon. Cheerio! Marvelous to see you, everyone. Good day.